Hola!
Hola!
Bienvenidos a LightSpeed Spanish.
Bienvenidos!
Today we are continuing with our beginners videocasts and we're going to be talking about conjugating present tense verbs. Pues hablamos de todo en la segunda parte. So, conjugation of verbs, Cynthia, in any language is classified as grammar.
It is. It would be grammar. It would be grammar, yes.
Yeah, bringing down the hammer with grammar. Now, Cynthia, when we first started teaching Spanish, just as an aside, when we first started teaching Spanish, we always started by teaching grammar and vocab and structure and stuff like that, yeah? Then came this wave of don't bother with grammar.
I know, yeah.
Can you remember that wave that came? And it came and then it went. Thank God. But it seems to be coming back again under a different name. But this, I can't remember what the name is now. Can you remember the name?
No.
But it's this, don't really focus too much on grammar. Just learn to speak the language, yeah?
Well, I suppose they have to cater for everybody. You know, like, I don't want grammar. Well, I've got something for you. No? Don't learn grammar.
Doma! Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't mean it that way. I mean, do you don't like grammar? I'll make it for you. I'll make a course for you.
Sure, yeah. No, but what is it going to be? I've got my take on grammar, right? I'll tell you what I think it is. Grammar is the skeleton of the language. If you try and learn the language without putting the skeleton in place, which is the structure which holds it all up, then you end up with a body that has no bones. So it's this floppy mass. And it just means that your Spanish is going to be all over the place. You're going to have a lot of vocab and a lot of words, but you're not necessarily going to know what to do with them. So I think that grammar has a fundamental place. If you learn language without grammar, you're not really learning the language. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Cynthia?
I think it's the name. Grammar. It's just like, oh my God, it's scary, difficult. I'm not going to be able to do it. Just don't call it grammar. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like when we hear grammar or...
Well,
sounds difficult.
In our teaching, we've always tried to not lambast people with names, you know, or the grammar names.
That's him. I'm more of a grammar Nazi.
Grammar Nazi. But I'm not. Relaxed and groovy. I'm relaxed and groovy. And so I would rather call the pluscuamperfecto, I would rather call that the had-eaten tense.
Oh, yeah? Well.
And I just think that's a lot easier than giving it all these names, which scare the pants off people, don't they?
Yeah.
So, conjugating verbs. In Spanish, the verbs are more complicated than they are in English in present tense, okay? One of the few things that's more complicated. 3 kinds of verbs in Spanish. What kinds are the endings?
The endings, we have verbs that end in ar, verbs that end in er, and verbs that end in ir. Ar, ir.
Okay. So, we're going to look at each verb in turn and just look at the system of how you break it down. But before we do that, we've got to know what are called the personal pronouns, which is the I, you, he, she. Mm-hmm. Yeah? They aren't as important as they are in English. Let me explain. When you say in English, eat, you don't know who you're talking about unless you say I eat or you eat or whatever.
Yeah.
In Spanish, you've got much more of a clue, which we'll come to. So how do the personal pronouns go, Cynthia?
So it goes first person singular. So the first 3 are the singular and the next 3 are the same but in plural.
Okay.
So the first one is the first person singular, which is yo, I.
Okay. Let's just pause there. Cynthia, you didn't say you said yo.
Yo.
Listen to the noticeable j sound. When we were talking about the alphabet, Cynthia's just done it and she wasn't putting it on. That's how people say yo here in received pronunciation in Spain.
Yo,
yeah?
sí, yo.
Yeah, okay.
Yo, I. Then second person singular would be tú, you. I, you, yo, tú. And then the third person in singular would be he, she, or it.
Uh-huh.
Él, ella. or ello, but also it could be usted. So it's the you formal. So you formal is like you speaking to a third person.
Okay. And then in the plural?
And then the same in plural. So if the first person singular was yo, I, in plural, the first person plural would be nosotros, we, nosotros, we, nosotros. So the second person singular was tú. So now the second person plural is going to be vosotros. In English, you as well. You all.
You all.
You lot.
Or in the American version, y'all.
Yo. You all. Okay? And then the third person plural, instead of he or she, it, or usted, would be ellos, they. Ellos, ellas, or ustedes. So the formal of you.
Yeah.
You all.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember sitting in a bar in Morocco talking to my Spanish friend Francisco, and I was waxing lyrical about how I'd learned to say you eat and you have, right?
Okay.
But only I'd learned the usted version of usted come, usted tiene. And he said, yes, Gordon. He said it in Spanish as well. Yes, Gordon, but then you've got the yo, the tú, the él, ella, nosotros, vosotros, and I went, heart attack.
And something about something you said, in Spanish America, in some places, in some countries, they'll use only usted and ustedes, so they only address you formally, as we would say in Spain, formally, so with usted and ustedes, and some countries don't have tú. Other countries do have tú, but they don't have vosotros. They would say ustedes.
Yeah.
So some countries have tú and ustedes, so informal and formal for us. In Spain, we have both. We can address somebody informally with tú or vosotros, the plural, or formally with usted and ustedes. So it depends on the occasion when you need to address somebody more formally or casually.
Yeah.
So we will make a distinction. In those countries, they don't make a distinction.
No, they don't.
Except for the ones that say tú, which could also say usted.
So if you're coming to Spain and you're going to be practicing and using your Spanish in Spain, don't drop off the vosotros. Make sure you study the vosotros as well, okay? Don't leave.
Yes,
okay?
yes, study
it's a big
vosotros.
mistake that I made.
Because when you use ustedes in Spain, it sounds too formal at times, like too formal or too distant. So it's a different concept as it is in Spanish America.
Okay. So that's the persons. By the way, there are just a couple of things. With the nosotros, if you're only talking about we as a group of women or feminine
of course.
A group, then it's going to be nosotras.
Nosotras, vosotras, ellas.
The same. With the vosotros, if it's a group of females, vosotras. The vosotros, you all, counts for men and women mixed or all men.
Yes.
Yeah. It's only when it's only female, then you say vosotras. The same with ellos, all men, men and women. But if it's just women, they, or just feminine things, ellas. Yeah.
So the masculine form is either for masculine or inclusive for masculine and feminine. So it includes both genders.
Okay.
Muy bien.
So, now that you've got your personal pronouns in order, we're going to finish this lesson here and we're going to continue in the next lesson. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it.
Please.
When we do the conjugation of the verbs, which is absolutely important, okay?
And help us get to 100,000. I'd love to have the 100,000 subscribers on thingy on the wall.
That's all she talks about.
Sometimes talk about grammar as well.
Grammar and getting to 100,000 subscribers. I don't know what's going to happen. What happens at 100,000?
Oh, you get like a little
plaque.
Plaque, you say? Una placa?
A plaque, yeah.
And then you can just show. Nothing, that's it. You just get that. But we've been doing this for so many years. We've been doing this for more than
20 years now.
Well, not 20 years on YouTube, but
nearly
15 years on YouTube.
Since YouTube started.
Come on, YouTube.
My son, who's 13 and super modern, he said, how long have you been doing this? I said, well, it's probably about 18 years now, maybe. He went, since YouTube actually began. And he made me feel really old. Like, so your mum was there too, you know?
Well, hon, we are old for him, you know. Not, we're not old, but in his eyes,
to 13,
we're old. You're older than me, of course.
A 20-year-old to a 13-year-old, a 20-year-old is old. I can remember my friend who taught me when I was in the ministry and the DSS. I was 18 and he was 21, and I thought it was really old.
Yeah.
3 years different.
Yeah. It's
Bueno.
true.
Okay, so practice your personal pronouns. We'll see you next week when we do the verb conjugations.
Muy bien.
Ahora nos vamos.
Y nos vemos.
Hasta luego, adiós.
Adiós.